Come on in, pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, 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 gang. Welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch. Brought to you by thegaminggang.com, of which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. So welcome aboard. Tonight is Monday, January 10th, 2022. This is live stream 737. Take 3. It's your first time joining me. Let me point out this is very, very casual, just hanging out, talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news. It's not as if we're performing rocket surgery by any stretch of the imagination. Just hanging out, having some fun, and we'll also take a look at a tabletop game. Tonight, I'm going to dive in and take a first look at Adventurer Conqueror King System from Autarch LLC. Heard good things about this. Want to check it out. I will have a disclaimer to mention as well when I dive on in. But we're going to dive in because it is old school for the new year all throughout January. Yes, it is a celebration of old school styled role-playing games. So, of course, do want to mention, if you like this video, by all means, give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. If you do subscribe, ding that bell. It'll not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday evenings, right here on YouTube at 7 p.m. Central. It'll also let you know when I upload other standalone videos. So all of last week, I was looking at the Dungeons & Dragons Original Adventures Reincarnated lineup from Goodman Games. And of course, all 6 volumes. And the final 3 volumes, including The Temple of Elemental Evil, all 2 volumes of it. Those last 3 volumes were standalone videos that I had uploaded. So, by all means, if you have not checked them out, take a peek. I also did a kind of a quick page through of the Advanced Dungeons & Dragons Player's Handbook. That's right. And it just shared some memories. And it was kind of funny because it was like, it's like, I don't remember that. I don't remember gnomes being in this, in the original AD&D. Who knew? Of course, everybody who remembers it knew. I just had forgotten. And of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Lastly, this is a live stream, so chat is not on screen, but there is chat available. So if you want to say howdy, or maybe you've got a question, a comment, by all means, chime in. I will do my best to respond. So far, taking a look, it appears like our stream is running okay. Because I've tried twice, and it's been all choppy, and I've checked, and we're losing massive amounts of packet numbers and so on and so forth. So I think, knock on wood, I think everything's looking all right now. So let's see. Who do we got in chat? First off, it's me, Hunter, 245 Trioxin, Nikki Bogger, taking a stab. I believe this is the first time we've had Nikki pop in and join us. Sarah D is with us. Kevin R. Smith, one of our contributors who provides role-playing game reviews for thegaminggang.com, is with us. Helga Rathbone and Flaming Huron, one of our chat moderators, is here as well. Dan Webb has joined us. Chat is off and running, and hopefully this time, as Sarah pointed out, hopefully third time's a charm right now. All right, let me grab a quick sip, and then got something to tell you. Then we will get into the show. So you're going to have to excuse my French here for a moment, but so far, 2022 is fucking shit. So if you follow the show, you know, on New Year's Day, we had to take my dad's cat, Pinky, into the vet, and she was put to sleep. She was very ill. Yesterday, we had to take my cat, Smokey, into the vet and ended up having her put to sleep. Not something I was planning on. And it was very strange because Pinky had been ill for a few days when we had to bring her in, and it was obvious. I mean, she was a 20-year-old cat, and it was obvious that, you know. So while she was ill, Smokey kind of wasn't eating as much as usual. And I thought, maybe it was because she was concerned about Pinky, which, some people may not realize, but animals mourn the death of other animals. They do. Birds do it. Mammals tend to do that. Not everything, but so. So anyway, she wasn't really eating. She was drinking a little bit, and she was still as lovable as ever. Just as sweet and lovable as ever. But all of a sudden, now this was after Pinky had been put to sleep, a couple days later, all of a sudden she started to just want to sit in this one chair all the time. I was like, what the hell's going on? And I thought, well, maybe she's depressed. Like it happens with animals. And then, she was hopping up. She would still come by and hop up on my lap and stuff like that. I could tell she felt really skinny. So finally yesterday I said, you know what, I got to take the cat in. So went in, and they took her in back. They were going to weigh her and all this other stuff. And we're sitting there and we're waiting. It's kind of like, wow, what's the hell's taking so long? And vet comes in, and she said, well, I was feeling Smokey's belly, and there's something there that I felt that shouldn't be there. Is it okay if I take x-rays? And I said, yeah, sure, of course. So we waited on that, and then came back, and she brought in a laptop, showed us the x-rays, and turned out Smokey had a tumor running through her intestines. And the vet said, we could perform surgery, because Smokey was like 13, 14 years old. I had her over 13 years, right? Or around 13 years. And I could tell the vibe that the vet was giving me was, I said, so you're saying that, she could maybe not even survive the surgery? She said that, or she wouldn't recover from it, or, who knows if we could even remove this. And, of course, I break down in tears. So I said, so are we talking euthanasia on the table is what we're talking about? And the vet said, yeah. She said, you don't have to do that today. We can give Smokey some hormones and some shots and things like that, and make her much more comfortable, and give her some nourishment, and give you a few days, couple days, maybe 4 days more with her. And I was like, no. I was like, God, no. It was like, if she has to go, it's got to be now. I mean, to me, it would be so silly. Because for one, it would just be horrible to be like, okay, 2 days from now, I'm taking you back to have you put to sleep. I was just no. So that was that. So within 8 days, we went from having 2 cats to no cats. Like I said, 2022 is fucking shit so far. So anyway, thank you so much, everybody in chat, for the condolences in that. It is, it is what it is, which I know a lot of people hate that term, that phrase, but I mean, it is the reality of it. It is life. And these things do happen. People tend to outlive their pets, hopefully, unless they've, got some sort of a tortoise, something like that, then they probably wouldn't. But I'm not trying to bring anybody down. It's just, if you follow the gaming gang, I'm pretty transparent about things that are going on. And, it's not just, oh, let's talk games all the time. It's always games. So, all right, let's see who else we've got in chat here. The Madman has joined us. Good to see the Motor City Madman is with us. Yes, Sarah says, yeah, this year can kiss my rear end. Yeah, it's just not starting off too well. Joseph DeBar's with us as well. Good to see Joseph. Dan says, pets are family members too. Yeah, of course. I mean, I've known people who don't treat their pets as if they're members of the family, as if they're, just like me personally, I've never let cats out. I have owned cats for a long time, although I wasn't always a fan of cats. And I never let them just roam around outside. It's like, you know what? Might as well just cut their lifespan by about 2/3 right there. So, all right. Anyway, let's jump on into the news because I got a bunch for us tonight. Coming this spring from Board and Dice is Zapotec. Here's what I know. The Zapotec were a pre-Columbian civilization that flourished in the valley of Oaxaca in Mesoamerica. I'm sure I mispronounced that. Well, I didn't mispronounce Mesoamerica. Archaeological evidence reveal their culture going back at least 2,500 years. Remnants of the ancient city of Montalban in the form of buildings, ball courts, magnificent tombs, and finely worked gold jewelry testify of this once great civilization. Montalban was one of the first major cities in Mesoamerica and the center of the Zapotec state that dominated much of the territory that today belongs to the Mexican state of Oaxaca. I don't know how to pronounce it. I don't live in Mexico. I don't know. And it came of Zapotec. You build temples, cornfields, and villages in the 3 valleys surrounding the capital to generate resources needed for building pyramids, making sacrifices to the gods, and performing rituals. Each round, players simultaneously pick a card from their hand to determine their turn order and the resources they collect. Players then perform individual turns and spend resources to build new houses, gain access to special abilities, make sacrifices to the gods, and build pyramids. At the end of the round, players draft new cards from the central offer, with the final undrafted card becoming the scoring bonus card for the following round. After 5 rounds, players score points for pyramids, for their position on the sacrifice track, and for their ritual cards. Player with the most victory points, you guessed it, wins. Zapotec is for 1 to 4 players, ages 12 and up, plays in 45 to 60 minutes. It'll carry an MSRP of $50 when it arrives in June. We may get a chance to see this. I did receive an email from the PR rep of Board and Dice asking if I'd like to check out a review copy. Um, I don't know if we'll see it or not because I did review Mandala Stones, which I thought was pretty good. And then they had another game that I thought was super, super clunky and would have gotten a negative review. So I let them know ahead of time, and they said, no, that's fine. You don't have to do the review. So I don't know if we're going to see this or not. So Joseph DeBar says that they had to put a cat down once and also broke down in tears. It's funny how attached you become with an animal. I don't think it's funny. I think it's pretty natural. I think it's relatively natural to, and it's funny. I've said it time and time again, and it really is true. Little kids and animals tend to adore me. Everyone else, the jury's sort of out. So I am easily attached to animals. So, all right, moving right along. Now available from GMT Games is Conquest and Consequence. Here's the deets. Conquest and Consequence, that just doesn't roll off the tongue really easily, brings the triumph and tragedy system to the Pacific East Asia theater during the same 1936 to 1945 time period. Like TNT, it is designed for 3 players, maintaining the 3-sided dynamic that adds so much variety and intrigue to the system. There's militaristic Japan, the first Asian power to modernize, seeks to replace the European colonial empires in East Asia with a true all-Asian empire with itself as the natural leader. The Communist Soviet faction comprises the Siberian USSR and the Red Chinese Revolutionaries. The capitalist USA faction consists of the United States, the British Empire, and the struggling regime of nationalist China. The game begins in 1936 with the militarists in control of Japan and expansion on the agenda. Its war industry is well developed, but it's weak in population and particularly resources. Its battle-hardened army has easily overrun resource-rich Manchuria, which I think at that time, wasn't it known as Manchukuo? I think. I might be wrong. And a weak China awaits. The game combines the Pacific Naval War and the Land War in Asia, including the Chinese Civil War, both equally weighing upon victory. The naval war is dramatic, featuring short, decisive battles and expanded roles for air power and island bases. In the tradition of triumph and tragedy, the 3-sided aspect features negotiation, diplomacy, and subterfuge within a multitude of strategic possibilities. Like TNT, the game allows players freedom to diverge from the inclinations and policies of the historical actors, and it plays in 4 to 6 hours of constant tension and involvement. Conquest and Consequence is, once again, for 2 or 3 players. Ages 12 and up, plays in 4 to 6 hours, as I just mentioned, and it does carry an MSRP of $115. So, I received Conquest and Consequence. Yes, it arrived. In fact, you may have noticed I did an unboxing video for Red Flag over Paris, which I put up yesterday. And funny enough, we were talking about Smokey. I had actually shot that video ahead of time. And I was like, oh, so I'm going to upload this video and then I'm going to talk about Smokey. People are going to be like, well, wait a second. You seemed awfully happy in that video. Yeah, because it was shot the day before. So I know I'm tricky sometimes. Sometimes I pretend it's one day in a video when it's not. Doug Roberts is with us in chat. I'm not sure if I said hello to Doug. Russell Higgins is with us as well. Russell's like, oh, I missed most of the show. No, you actually didn't. I was having issues with Xfinity dropping tons of frames, and now we haven't dropped a single one. So the first 2 tries at this were awful, and then this is great. So, looks pretty strange. I don't know. Okay, so let's move on to some role playing game news because next month brings a healthy dose of Starfighter role playing action, including you got it, two new Adventure Path chapters. Here are the major releases heading your way from Paizo Inc. come February. First off, we've got Starfighter Adventure Path number 43, Icebound. It is chapter 4 of 6 of Horizons of the Vast. A distress beacon from a desolate section of tundra sends the heroes on a rescue mission in the biting cold. They find a lone Vesk survivor in the wreckage of a starship, prowled by a menacing insectile stowaway, a component of the dreaded swarm. Spoilers! The heroes trace the creature's origin to a frozen gas giant in the same system, where a mutated swarm colony has begun to awaken from a strange hibernation. Will the heroes brave the floating organic layer to stop the swarm from contacting the greater hive mind? Icebound is a Starfighter role-playing game adventure for 4 7th level characters by Jason Tondro. This adventure continues the Horizons of the Vast adventure path, a 6-part bi-monthly campaign in which the heroes are at the forefront of exploring and charting a newly discovered world filled with mystery. This volume also includes a dossier on the Veskarium spy agency known as Directive 9, technology repurposed from the swarm, and a selection of deadly alien threats. The soft cover is going to carry an MSRP of $22.99. You'll be able to score the PDF for $15.99. Then we've got Starfighter Adventure Path number 44, Allies Against the Eye. This is chapter 5 of 6 of Horizons of the Vast. Heralds of an organization called the Order of the Culling Shadow announce their presence, proclaiming the eventual destruction of every thinking being in the system. The PCs must spread the terrible news to New Harmony's other charters, as well as reach out to the Pact Worlds and the Veskarium for assistance. Can the heroes navigate political complications and face strange dangers to gain the cooperation of possible allies? Or will they go alone into what could possibly be an all-out war? Allies Against the Eye is a Starfighter role-playing game adventure for 4 9th-level characters by Jabari Weathers. This adventure continues the Horizons of the Vast adventure path, a 6-part bi-monthly campaign, in which the heroes are at the forefront of exploring and charting a frontier world filled with mystery. This volume also includes an examination against the dangerous cult called the Order of the Culling Shadow, paths to mystical enlightenment, and a selection of unusual alien threats. The softcover will, as usual, carry an MSRP of $22.99. The PDF is $15.99. Then we've got the Starfighter Alien Archive 1 and 2 battle cards. Keep the aliens of the Starfighter RPG close at hand with this massive collection of over 200 reference cards featuring every extraterrestrial creature from the Starfighter Alien Archive and Alien Archive 2. Each 4x6 card, inches of course, is printed on sturdy cardstock and features a beautiful full-color image of a Starfighter creature on one side, while the other side provides that creature's statistics for quick and easy reference. With each encounter, show the players what the characters are facing while keeping the monster's abilities at the ready and watch your games come alive. This box set will carry an MSRP of $59.99. Next up, we've got the Starfighter Flip Tiles Space Station Corridors expansion. Next time your players head for the far side of the space station they're visiting, they won't have to wait while you draw every hallway, intersection, and maintenance tunnel. The Starfighter Flip Tiles Space Station Corridors expansion provides beautifully illustrated 6-inch by 6-inch map tiles that can be used to construct never-ending combinations of public thoroughfares and behind-the-scenes service corridors to enhance your orbital station. Inside, you'll find 24 richly crafted double-sided map tiles. This expansion set along with Starfinder flip tiles, Space Station starter set, allows you to create futuristic space habitats with endless variety. So stop your sketching and start your flipping today. So that carries an MSRP of $19.99, or you can grab the PDF for $13.99. Then finally, we've got the Starfinder Flip Mat Casino. Ka-ching! Place your bets on high adventure with his double-sided Starfinder Flip Mat featuring a different far future casino on each side. Rub shoulders with the high and mighty at a high-stakes upper-class gambling palace, or dip down to the seedy side of town with a dark and dingy gambling den. Starfinder Flip Mats present ready-to-use science fantasy set pieces for the busy game master. With Starfinder Flip Mat Casino, you'll be ready the next time your players decide to gamble with their lives. That will carry an MSRP of $14.99. All of these Starfinder items are slated for a mid-February release. So I should point out, I have talked about some of these things in the past. There have been shipping delays. That is why we're seeing, just like with the Pathfinder releases for next month, have some oddness with the Starfinder releases as well. So Russell Higgins says, that's steep for a deck of cards. Got to point out those, because I've got one of the sets of the battle cards from Pathfinder Bestiary. They're actually like this. They're not just regular cards. And they've got the entire stat block on the back of the card and the artwork on the front. So they're pretty nice. $60. I don't know, but it's not as if it's just like regular size, like playing card size cards. These are bigger, and all the info you need about each of the creatures or monsters, what have you, are located on the back. All right, let me grab a quick sip here. There's a new bundle holding that's arrived, and it features Mjörkberg, or as some people like to refer to it, Morkborg. Compatible content. Here's the skinny Adventurer. This new Mjörkberg compatible bundle presents third-party supplements and adventures for the doom metal apocalypse art punk tabletop fantasy role-playing game Mjörkberg from Free League Publishing. Bleakness alert! The core rulebook that you need to use this material is not included in this offer. Published under a permissive third-party license, these indie titles conjure a cruel and hopeless world's grotesque monstrosities, ready to send fools and lost souls plummeting into pitch-dark depths of despair. It'll be fun! For just $12.95, you get all 5 third-party supplements and adventures in the Starter Collection, which have a retail value of $51, as DRM-free PDFs, including 2 campaign adventures from New Year Studios, The Box of Shadows, and The Bridges of Muir and the Endless Sea. 2 supplements from Philip Reed, Kalo's Book of Monsters and Tower of Scoundrels, and Richard Kelly's Fiskburg, which expands Mjörkberg with much-needed rules for sinister and ominous fishing. My God, the horror. And if you pay, not play, if you pay more than the threshold price of $25.29, you'll level up, also get the entire bonus collection with 5 more indie titles worth an additional $69, including the Masticator Gate campaign and its Endless Demons deck from Skeleton Key Games, the miniatures game Forbidden Psalm from Optimistic NL, and Christian Eichhorn's Brutal Adventures, Vaults of Torment, Blood is Fuel, and Temple of the Kraken God. These savings run through January 31st. 10% of your payment after gateway fees will be donated to this offer's pandemic-related charity, Direct Relief. I gotta say, I am not a huge fan of the art punk scene. It is not really my bag of tricks. I thought Morkborg was fine. I thought it was interesting enough. I would not have been awarding a game of the year and things like that. In my opinion, I see this a lot, especially with the Ennies. For some reason, the voters are always into this like hipper than thou shit. It's like, oh yeah, man, best game design is for this role-playing game where everybody's an amoeba and they can't speak. They can only communicate through like body language, man. That's like 5 people have played the game, but it's like game of the year, baby. Hey, I get it. There are people out there who really love the grimdark vibe and they really like this role-playing game and that's fine. I thought it was okay. I gave like, a decent review, but everybody's got to release stuff that looks just like it. This, like I said, this art punk vibe, not a fan. So, Omanal's joined us in chat. Omanal's another one of our role-playing game reviewers at thegaminggang.com. Points out Mirk's art was too out there for me. Yeah, like I said, not a big fan. Russell says he must smoke an entire doob before voting. Yeah, man. Yeah, so every once in a while, the Ennies get it right, and they'll give something deserving of awards. So Kevin points out, so like this year's winner, Alice is Missing. Yes, exactly. Once again, I have not read Alice is Missing, but I'll tell you what, neither have a lot of other role players out there. So don't know how you award Game of the Year to stuff that people aren't even playing. But hey, like I said, these voters want to just, pat themselves on the back and be holier than thou. All right, on to my final news piece. Now available for the Dune Adventures in the Imperium role-playing game from Modiphius Entertainment is a new supplement, Sand and Dust. Here's the scoop. Arrakis, source of the spice. In the backwaters of the vast Imperium of humanity lies the hostile desert world of Arrakis. It is a deadly place where no drop of rain falls and the people live a sparse existence in the baking cities of the northern pole. But Arrakis is the most important planet in the entire universe, for it is only here that you can find the spice melange. The spice is everything. To some, it's a way to extend life. To others, a way to see into the future. It is the key to wealth and power in the Imperium, and many of the noble houses will stop at nothing to control it in any way they can. The cities of Arrakeen and Carthage, I don't know, are full of agents and spies, all looking to gain advantage for their faction and ready to kill to maintain the power of their masters. Will Arrakis be the place your characters prove the power of their house, or will their blood be spilled on the unforgiving sands? This collector's edition source book for the Dune Adventures in the Imperium role-playing game features a stunning foil embossed cover, takes you to the desert world of Arrakis, and explores the secrets of the spice. Visit the hidden sieges of the Fremen to learn the mysteries of their culture. Walk without rhythm in the great deserts. I guess you have to do like that silly walk, right? Yep. That's the first thing that popped in my head when I see walk without rhythm. Yes, I'm from the Ministry of Silly Walks. And perhaps see one of the incredible sandworms. Trade secrets with spies and agents in the bustling marketplace of Arrakeen or the alleys of Carthage. Arrakis is a planet of mysteries and danger, and those who underestimate it never leave. Sand and Dust, the Arrakis sourcebook, contains 156 pages of overview regarding the planet of Arrakis, known as Dune, its history and features, detail on the mysterious desert Fremen and their many secrets, a host of new options for Fremen player characters, including new archetypes, talents, and rules for riding the great sandworms, an in-depth look at spice harvesting and those who try to smuggle and stockpile it secretly, the secrets of spice revealed, including new spice-related talents and abilities, a gazetteer of the cities of Carthage and Arrakeen, including their layout, noteworthy landmarks, and what life is like for the people of each city. There's expanded notes on creating your own campaigns on Arrakis, including a host of new NPCs, scenario hooks, and story seeds. And there's a new campaign option available as smugglers, fremen, or merchants instead of agents of a noble house. It's a complete adventure, The Water Must Flow, that involves the player characters in a deadly plot during a water shortage on Arrakis, which wouldn't that be always? The 156-page hardcover is available right now for pre-order for approximately $39.99, depending on exchange rate. You can grab the PDF right now over at DriveThruRPG for $19.99. Nice. Like the cover art a lot. I wish I could have found some interior images, but there was no dice on it. Even on the Modiphius website, all they were showing was the cover, which is unusual because usually they share 4 or 5 interior images from the book. All right, that is it for the news this time out. Of course, I was just talking about DriveThruRPG. Keep in mind, the gaming gang, thus the Dispatch, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you are going to visit, say, DriveThruRPG, by all means, please click on one of our banner ads. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a little portion of that sale. And all those nickels, dimes, and quarters really do add up and help keep thegaminggang.com around. Also, if you like this video, if you like what I do, if you like the channel or the website, by all means, you can buy me a cup of coffee or some soda by going to paypal.me/thegaminggang and make a small donation. And thankfully, there are quite a few people who actually use those banner ads or make small donations through paypal.me. So always appreciated. Thank you very much. So Russell Higgins says, Dune is not their jam for role playing. Yeah. Teach their own. That's how I look at it. To each their own. There are a lot of different kind of role playing games that I'm not like. I personally probably would not play. Mirkberg is actually one of them because I'm not a fan of Grimdark. Although I heard Shadow of the Demon Lord is really good, even though it is kind of another dark setting. I heard it's not as, like depressing. Mr. Eddie T is chiming in. This about 92 is with us in chat. I don't know if I said hello. Not sure. If you watch earlier in the show, I got other things on my mind. So, Flaming Huron says Shadow of the Demon Lord is rather good. Nice, very cool. Okay, so tonight I am going to dive in. We are going to take a first look at the core book for Adventurer Conqueror King System. I feel weird throwing system into the title of it, but that is the title. That's why it's abbreviated ACKS, ACKS. It is from Autarch LLC. And I do want to mention, here's your disclaimer. Okay. Because we are looking at this role-playing game all week long. So tonight we're looking at the core book. Tomorrow we are going to take a look at the player's handbook. I'm sorry, player's companion. And then we're going to take a look on Wednesday at the heroic fantasy handbook for this. The fine folks over at Autarch, I think that's how it's pronounced, Autarch, provide me with a bunch of stuff for this game. So here's the player's companion we'll be looking at tomorrow. Here's the heroic fantasy handbook. Now, the player's companion and the core book are both hardcover. Everything else is soft cover. So the author of this game is controversial, I guess we will say. So I do want to point out that I certainly don't agree with the politics I have run across from Alexander McCrease. I think it's Macrease is how it's pronounced. At all. I mean, I guarantee you, he and I are on completely different ends of a political spectrum. But I have pointed out before, I am not a gatekeeper to this hobby. This hobby is open to everyone. Everyone should be welcome in this hobby. If I could only play games with people I agree with 100% politically, I probably wouldn't game with anybody. Gotta be honest. Nope, sorry, I disagree with you on that one thing. I cannot play with you. So I'm not here to gatekeep, right? So I share role-playing games, board games, any sort of tabletop games designed by a variety of individuals out there. Just because I share something from a creator does not mean that I completely endorse everything they stand for in life. Just to let you know. So I don't want to hear anybody shit. Oh, Jeff, I can't believe you're not my responsibility. I know people will be like, oh, that's wishy-washy. No, it is not wishy-washy because I am 54 years old. I am not a little child who has to, everybody's got to share the same exact beliefs as me or I pee myself. So there. All right. Plus, I've heard good things about this role-playing game. So it's like, and they were kind enough to send me all this stuff to look at. So anyway, without further ado, and unfortunately, we live in a world now that I'm going to have to make this disclaimer on every video I do sharing material for Adventurer Conqueror King. Otherwise, people are going to be like, so we're taking a look at Adventurer Conqueror King System from Autarch LLC. It's written by Alexander Macrease. Like I said, I think that's how it's pronounced. With Tavis Allison and Greg Tito. Art is provided by Ryan Browning, Chris Haggerty, and Jonathan Bingham. The 274-page hardcover is available for pre-order. I shouldn't say pre-order. I think it's available now. What am I thinking? It is available for $40. You can grab the PDF over at DriveThruRPG for $10. That is a smoking deal. And it's actually on sale right now during the new game for the new year or something like that is the sale. It's on sale for $6.50. Flaming Heron points out, watch out, Jeff. You're a straight white male. Your opinion does not matter. Yeah, I know. I know it doesn't matter. And I don't worry about it either. I do not worry about it either. Because my money matters. It does. That's for sure. All right, so let's swing on over to the camera. Russell says, a good game is a good game. Dan says, don't. Oh, I'm sorry. Dan says, not going to make Jeff pee. You know what I mean. I mean, people just go ape shit over everything. I do not. Omenel says, keep your politics off my fantasy world. Unless it's the politics of your fantasy world, then it's okay. All right, let's take a peek. This is popping on over here. Let's take a look. I definitely think the artwork on the front cover is pretty cool. So they're like, oh, look, it's Princess Leia before she killed Jabba. I know, this is fantasy. It's not science fiction. Then again, neither is Star Wars. It's science fantasy. All right, let's take a look at the back here. There's something on here. Yeah, there's. I don't know if that's. I don't know. Kind of weird. I don't. You're probably not seeing it. Yeah, I don't know. It's a review copy that was sent to me. It cost me absolutely nothing, so I'm not complaining. Because sometimes I get review copies that have like dings and stuff like that, and I'm completely fine with that. Enter a world where empires totter on the brink of war and terrible monsters tear at the fragile borderlands of men, where decaying cities teem with chaos and corruption. Nubile maidens are sacrificed to chthonic cults, and nobles live in decadent pleasure on the toll of slaves, where heroes, wizards, and rogues risk everything in pursuit of glory, fortune, and power. This is a world where adventurers can become conquerors and conquerors can become kings. Will you survive the perils of war and dark magic to claim a throne? Or will you meet your fate in a forgotten ruin beyond the ken of men? And of course, it talks what's in the book, so we're going to take a look already. Flaming Heads, what's wrong? That armor is totally functional. That's right, obviously. I mean, well, it depends on if we're looking at ascending armor class or not. But obviously, that's like 18. Let's dive on in here. I have really been looking forward to checking this out because once again, I've heard good things about this game. It is a kind of retro clone, I guess we'll say, because it is steeped in traditional kind of, I believe, advanced D&D. So something I do understand is that this is like really heavy into like domain play, which usually is not a feature of many role-playing games. So says, where does she keep those swords? Yeah, I don't know. I'm not seeing any scabbards there. All right, let's dive on in. So it looks like we get a little bit of fiction to start us off. This certainly looks like this is a very heavy sword and sorcery vibe to the proceedings here. Very nice. So we got a couple of more folks popping on into chat. Joshua Garlock, thank you very much for popping in to join us today. And Luke Anzalotti is in chat with us as well. So welcome aboard. Looks like we've got a decent chat going. It only took us 3 times to actually get this stream rocking and rolling. Kevin R. Smith says it's more like basic race as class. Nice. Okay, cool. Well, essentially what I meant is it's based on a D&D framework. So we've got how to use the book, basics of the game. Few things that I do want to point out. Of course, I already mentioned that the fine folks over at Autarch were kind enough to provide me with this review copy as well as a bunch of other goodies for the game. I'm also going to say picture in picture up here. Howdy, howdy. So I am going to cut off the upper left portion of the book, and we're not going to look at each and every page. We're just going to pop on through here. Just want to give you kind of a feel for what's in the book. So here we've got our abilities. We're taking a look at our bonuses here for the attributes. So pretty wide range. So we go -3 to +3. which is cool. I like games where your attributes matter. One of the reasons why I am a big fan of the black hack and games that are kind of built on the black hack, I dig the fact where it's like, you know what, a difference between an attribute of 12 and an attribute of 14 is a big deal in that game. Some, you know, fantasy heartbreakers, retro clones, what have you, it might be the same bonus. So it really doesn't matter. So Doug says sometimes they feel like a Walmart door greeter saying hello to everybody comes on in. Of course, no offense to any Walmart door greeters out there. Okay, so we've got our character classes. So we've got our core classes. We got the fighter, the mage. I can also tell you it looks as if this is not a game, which I kind of had the feeling taking a look at the cover artwork. This is not a game that's kind of steeped in the Western Europe medieval kind of visual style. This certainly looks like this is more of a Middle Eastern and possibly Asian influence here. So we've got our fighter, we had our mage, we've got our cleric, we've got our thief. And unlike some versions of like D&D, we're saying we've got kind of a target number here, depending on your level for like the thief skill. So it's not percentage. So that's that makes life easier for people. Luke says they're DMing for the first time, 5th edition, and they're nervous but excited, but also nervous. I'll tell you, as someone who is the forever game master for decades, your biggest responsibility as a game master is to make sure everyone around the table, including yourself, has a good time. Don't worry about anything else. Don't worry about rules. Don't worry about getting things right. Don't worry about, well, you know, I made a judgment call there that I think was bad. Don't worry about any of that. Make sure everybody is having a good time and the game moves along. If you do that, you'll be golden. I was just telling my nephew Cameron, who is looking to run some like probably like old school essentials. I told him that if he runs across something and he doesn't know a rule, never stop the game to look a rule up. Just make a decision, make a judgment call. Then at the end of your session, tell all your players, hey, you know what? I wasn't sure what that rule was, but I made a decision because I didn't want, you know, the game to come to a screeching halt. I'll tell you what, I will look that up and make sure that I've got that information next time we play. So Luke points out, yes, everyone should be having fun. The GM should have as much fun as the players. Oh, yeah, sometimes more because you know what's going on. They don't. All right, so we get some subclasses here. So we've got a Blade Dancer. We had a Bard. Here we've got the Demi-Human classes. So we've got a Dwarven Vault Guard and a Craft Priest, Elven Spell Sword, which is interesting. The old school elf, when we're looking at races class, is always like a fighter magic user. It's like that's all they did, nothing else. All right. Then we got the Elven Nightblade. I'm going to guess maybe they're kind of like an assassin. Almost maybe like a thief. Talk about alignment. So we got law, neutral, and chaos. That is very Murkakian, I guess we will say. Madman says, Jeff's exactly right. Yes, every once in a while, I am correct about something. Just like a broken clock, I'm right a couple of times a day. So he says, Madman says they've been DMing since 82. I'm not old, I'm experienced. Right. Luke says they're going to have fun messing with the party. But be fair, always be fair, and always provide the players with information. Don't hold back on giving info to your players. The more info, the better, because the more information they have about a situation, the better the decisions they're going to make for their player characters. And to me, nothing gimps a group more than like holding back from them. To me, that doesn't add anything to the game. Now, of course, if you're running Call of Cthulhu, yeah, you should have a lot of mysterious stuff going on. Right, so we've got all of our equipment, and it looks like we get a couple of sentences to a paragraph about each thing. Cool. Encumbrance. So we've got henchmen. What are these skills? Do we have some? Oh, proficiencies. All right, so we've got some proficiencies here. And they give an additional bonus of 1, 2, or 3. Probably based on the level of proficiency that you've got. Doug Roberts says 82 was the year they graduated high school. I didn't graduate till 85. I'm just a young kid compared to all you guys out there and gals. I'm joking. I'm like one of the oldest people around doing this stuff. Okay, so we've got different kinds of spells, reversible spells. So essentially, cure wounds would also be like cause wounds. So we've got a decent spell list. Looks like 10 spells for each level. And we go from 1st to 5th level on the spells. So one thing that kind of bums me out with some of the various fantasy role-playing games out there is when they don't give you enough spells. Now, it's completely easy to just have overkill on the number of spells. But, like, I want to say, I think the Black Hack only has like 4 per level. And yes, and it's super easy to port over magic spells to rules light games. But still, it's kind of like, really? 4 or 5 spells per level? Flaming Heron says, you guys make me feel young for an older guy. Luke says, I wasn't even born back then. You weren't even a thought. All right, so what we got here? Tampering with mortality. Ooh, I bet you. Do we have... Is this kind of like wild magic, very dangerous magic? Because I think this is kind of maybe a low fantasy. Maybe not super low fantasy, but I do get the vibe that this is kind of a low fantasy, like a traditional swords and sorcery setting. So we had those charts. What did I just do with them? Just passed them by. So I wonder if this is like spells backfiring and things like that. I love that. That's one of my favorite aspects of Dungeon Crawl Classics is the spell casting. And that even the lowest level of magic users can unleash some super powerful spells. Of course, could possibly destroy themselves in the process. But it's not like, oh, well, all I've got is my magic missile. Go, magic missile. Okay, I cast it. It's done. Okay, I got to rest now so I can remember that again. Got to memorize that again. All right, so we got different kinds of magic. Okay, so here it looks like we got some I think we're getting into domain play. Yeah, strongholds and domains. As I had mentioned earlier, my understanding is Adventurer Conqueror King System is really focused on domain play. So Luke says, I'm only 20. Only 20? You're too young to be playing Dungeons and Dragons. Okay, so we got our bestiary here. Looks like we've got some traditional fantasy creatures, like the cockatrice, the centaur, dragons, gnomes, hippogriffs, the nymph, ogre, orc. Nice. Okay, cool. All right, so going through the bestiary there. Then we got treasure. Talking about random treasure generation. Talking about different aspects, magical aspects. So like water walking, x-ray vision. It's like magical weapons, sentient weapons. So weapons like Stormbringer or Moonblade. Then we got secrets. So it looks like this is kind of probably a game master facing section. Of course, the bestiary, in my opinion, should be player facing. That's just me. I like to surprise my players with monsters and that. I never use the name of something. And it doesn't matter if they've encountered the things multiple times. They don't know what other people call them. They don't know what they're called. Okay, so we've got some additional rules. Aging and death. I don't think this game is, well, maybe it is. I was going to say, I don't think the game is like super modular, but it's possible it is. It's like we got a lot of good info in here. This looks very interesting. Okay, so it looks like we've got some kind of like player aids. So we got the combat round, breaking down things that you can do. It appears we're looking at move and attack or take an action and move kind of thing. Nice looking character sheet. Henchmen and followers. There we go. We've got our domain. Got vassals. Their morale. Bought the PDF. Save $10 on the hardcover. Bought the hardcover. Get the PDF. Absolutely free. If at a brick and mortar store or Game Salute. All right, and then we got our index and the Kickstarter backers. Because I think this is, even though I don't think it's touted as a second edition, I think this is like the second print of Adventurer Conqueror King. I don't think it was as extensive originally. So I think this edition was kickstarted. I might be wrong, but I think that is the case. All right. So that is the Adventurer Conqueror King System from Autarch LLC. Once again, it's written by Alexander McCrease with Tavis Allison and Greg Tito. This hardcover is available for $40. You can get the PDF. As I mentioned, it's normally $10 over on DriveThruRPG. Currently, it is on sale for $6.50. That is a slamming deal. Of course, I am going to have a review in the very near future of ACKS. And I will hopefully be able to get a review of this before the end of the month. So kind of taking advantage of the old school for the New Year's celebration. Although I do have to point out, I am trying to get reviews of all 6 volumes of the Goodman Games D&D Original Adventures Reincarnated out there by the end of the month too. So we shall see. So Kevin R. Smith says, I assume the Carrion Crawler is in open game content. Yeah, I thought we saw a Carrion Crawler. I thought there's only just a very small handful of creatures that cannot be utilized outside of Dungeons and Dragons. So even if you're using the open game license, you can't utilize the creatures. And I thought, well, I know one is the Beholder, and then I thought another one was, is it Blink Dogs? Which sounds just so weird. Or is it Displacer Beasts? Maybe it's Displacer Beasts that are another one where it's like, no. Mm-mm-mm. Can't use that. All right. So there's some discussion about running a mystery adventure for Dungeons and Dragons. And yes, Kevin is correct. Divination spells make short work of a mystery. So that's why most mystery adventures, as Kevin's kind of pointing out, tend to be lower level characters, because then they don't have those kind of spells to ruin the mystery. Oh, well, let's see. Who murdered this person here? Well, I guess I'll just cast Speak with the Dead. End of story. Well, that was it for Dungeons and Dragons tonight. Okay, excellent. All right, moving right along. All right, that is it for this time out. Wow, I can't believe we actually got the stream in where it wasn't dropping and stuttering and everything else. Awesome. Anyway, once again, everybody, hey, thank you so much for those of you who were offering your condolences about my cat. It is a bummer. It certainly is. Thank you so much. I was like, okay, so I had a feeling something was wrong. And I was like, I wanted to make sure to take her into the vet yesterday, as opposed to, oh, let's just wait till Monday, see what's going on. Because I thought if something like what happened was going to happen, I wanted to make sure I did have a show to do. Because all yesterday I was not any shape to actually be sitting in front of a camera talking. All right. Anyway, so that's it for this time out. If you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you do subscribe, ding that bell. Not only lets you know when the Gaming Gang Dispatch streams live Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday evenings at 7 p.m. Central right here on YouTube. It'll also let you know when I upload other videos, such as my look at Original Adventures Reincarnated Volume 6 from Goodman Games. Yes, that's right. It is the 2-volume set for The Temple of Elemental Evil. And of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Everybody enjoy the rest of your Monday night, Tuesday morning, or whatever day it happens to be when you're watching this. Of course, I will be back tomorrow. Tomorrow, we are going to take a look at the ACKS Player's Companion. So we're going to dive in, take a peek at this tomorrow. And of course, I'll have the latest in tabletop gaming news as well. Those of you who were watching live, thank you very much. Of course, if you took part in chat as well, a bigger thank you, because otherwise I'd feel like a complete dork just talking into a camera, doing a live stream, expecting some sort of feedback and getting none. Boy, that would be great. But of course, I know a lot of people out there don't have an opportunity to watch live. Doesn't matter when you watch or how you watch. You might be watching on Memorex. It's all good with me, and I certainly appreciate each and every one of you taking time out of your busy lives to watch this doofus. All right. So, once again, I will be back tomorrow, and here's hoping all of you out there get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang. Oh, hey, you're still here. Well, if that's the case, by all means, subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel by clicking right here. Check out the latest episode of the Gaming Gang Dispatch, or find out what YouTube recommends you check out from the channel. And of course, once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. Thanks for watching.